obviously just before kickoff. Let's hear now from the Sunderland head coach, Tony Mowbray.
Tony, is Corey's injury, I mean, when it occurred and afterwards, when you were talking about it, it's just a reminder that something that can seem quite innocuous at this level can be as serious as it turned out to be.
Yeah, it did seem innocuous on the pitch, and sometimes they turn out to be the worst injuries. And listen, Corey Evans, I've known him a long time now in football terms. He's a, inverted commas, a proper man, really, a proper guy. He'll understand what's in front of him and the gravity of it. I know he gets on really, really close with Bradley Dack, and I'm sure they'll be talking, and Corey will know he's got a tough period coming, trying to do the work that's required to strengthen every part of his body again. And yeah, it's first and foremost, my feelings and my thoughts are with Corey, and then he's a huge loss to our football team because of the type of player the flair players that we have.
Who Spurs got? Anybody know who Spurs got today? They're playing away. Do you know who they're playing?
It's not going to be easy to replace that balance. So we wish him well. We know he's got a long journey, and but I know he'll fully commit.
I don't know. I can't. My internet's gone skew at the minute. I need one of you lads to tell us who.
You mentioned Niall Huggins.
Spurs are playing.
Are any of them close to coming back this weekend?
Afternoon
review, labs. How you doing, John? You okay, mate?
Only a few days into training, having been out for a period of time. And yet, Adji had 5 weeks without kicking a ball, really, and then came and played the other day. It's maybe going to be a big ask to ask Adji, who hasn't trained this week, on the back of Sunday, to think about, can he start again? I'm not sure that's the answer. So we'll assess it tomorrow. We'll see who trains tomorrow. We'll see what we think the balance of the team's going to be, and we'll get on the train and go to London and give it our best shot without the pressure of, we have to win this game. We don't have to win this game. It's not 3 points gone if we don't win. It's a chance for us to go and see how far away we are, or how close we are to competing with teams in the Premier League.
Yeah, it'd be good review, labs.
First, in one sense, for Sunderland this weekend, although it was in place at Wembley for the playoff final but never used, is VAR. There's going to be VAR at Craven Cottage. I mean, what's your opinion of the much maligned and debated system?
I think, certain areas it's got to be right. I watched that game last night. I watched the Equalizer for Nottingham Forest, and the celebrations and the whole team in the stadium going mad, and then he's a millimetre offside, and it seems it's not football that I knew and grew up, and the emotion of football, the fans and the players celebrating, and then let's not celebrate just in case VAR call it off. I've suffered from VAR actually against Newcastle United, and we played them in I think it was the FA Cup 3 years ago. We had a replay. They got a VAR, give them a penalty, and then we scored a goal at our ground at Blackburn where there was no VAR. So there was a VAR penalty at St James's, but then at Ewood there's no VAR. We score a perfectly good goal that's 1.5 yards onside, and the flag goes up and we get ruled out offside, and the video afterwards shows that he's miles onside, and the linesman just jumped and got it wrong. And it wasn't even a close one where it was, was he or wasn't he? He was onside, and yet the linesman put his flag up, and so because there was no VAR at Ewood Park, it wasn't overruled, and otherwise we'd have probably still been in the cup. But, so it works both ways for you. It just seems a bit strange to me how you can have VAR in some grounds and not in others, all playing in the same competition.
Yeah, I suppose in one sense you hope it doesn't need to be used. I mean, that would be the ideal situation.
Yeah, ideally, yeah. But it does seem to affect every single goal now. And as I say, I sat and watched that game last night with Nottingham Forest having theirs ruled out. So it's hard to argue against VAR, isn't it? Because if a goal goes in and it's offside, and it's proven to be offside, then whichever side of the decision you were on, you have to go, oh, he was offside. Whether it's for you or against you, it's you have to accept it, and it can only be good that the decisions are correct. But there's some instances of, some handballs, for instance. There's been some this week. Handball, was it handball? Did it hit his hand? Did it not hit his hand? Every angle you look at, you can't really see. So then you're supposed to go with the on-pitch decision, I think, aren't you? Yeah. So I find it hard to argue against it because everybody who brings VAR, they're intelligent, bright, clever people, and we want correct decisions, and yet we're still in that grey area of where there's some decisions that aren't correct, really, aren't there? It's whether you ever get a perfect system where every single decision is spot on, that aligns up to the laws of the game. I'm not sure you're going to get there, but so that's why I'm ambivalent to it, really. I wouldn't mind if there was no VAR. It doesn't matter to me. Let's just go with the bad decisions that you get every single week.
Found out who Spurs have sent,
all my pals, inverted commas, in Middlesbrough saying, oh, never a sending off, never a penalty. Was it not? Would VAR have overruled that? Was it in the box? Was it out the box? Was he sending off? I don't care. I said,
if anybody in the chat can tell us who
it isn't. I play football. We play football. It's off, red card, penalty kick, 1-0. Then we score again. Game's done. Thanks very much. Doesn't matter, because that's the world we live in. And yet, in a different world, if that had been a Premier League game, it might not have been given as a penalty, whether it was a red card or not. Some guy sitting in Stockley Park might have thought different from the guy on the pitch. Who knows?
8 years ago, Sunderland played a fourth-round replay at Craven Cottage. Probably most notable for Ricky Alvarez scoring for Sunderland a goal which probably cost the club about £15 million. But also that day, that evening, I think a 17-year-old Patrick Roberts came off the bench for Fulham and played 9 minutes at the end of the game. I mean, for him, this will be a special weekend if, in inverted commas, he's playing.
Yeah, listen, my thoughts on Patrick. I've said, I think I've said to you before, I can't believe Patrick Roberts is, with total respect to Sunderland, just a massive club. But Patrick Roberts, League One, Sunderland was amazing for me, because having felt his threat against us, I think we probably Blackburn played Middlesbrough. He can dance with that ball.
Yeah,
and you daren't touch him, you daren't put a foot in, you daren't tackle, because he's so clever. And if you leave a fraction of an inch,
I've got it on the fire stick.
He'll slip it through your legs and he'll be round you like a flash. And I just think it's amazing that we've got him. He's our player. He's amazing, and I try to fit him in the team as often as I can. I went through a period where Diallo was scoring every game, and we were playing a slightly different formation, and Pat had to sit out for a week or two. But a lot of people who I bump into who tell me they're Sunderland fans tell me that they just love watching Diallo and Roberts interlink and passing down that right hand side. And listen, to be able to play like he does with Diallo, Patrick is some player. If he's on that level
really much
where they're on the same wavelength, really, just the brilliance of his feet and the quickness of his mind is something else. I feel very not lucky but to have a player like him, sort of enjoying just working with him, really, and seeing his talent, trying to make sure he understands when he hasn't got the ball where he needs to be on the pitch, and I hope he sees that as me trying to help him, not criticise him. Why is he always over there when he should be here? But yeah, I love Patrick Roberts' talent, really, his raw talent, and it's there to be seen.
Do you not think we should be?
I think we're very
in a world like America is and things like that, where
unlock
every
doors, because the
football
hardest thing in football is to create chances to score goals, and I think
even if you had to pay a small fee or something like that, but every match should be available to watch.
And as I say, our supporters should enjoy them, and hopefully Patrick is our player. Diallo, of course, is a different scenario. He's Manchester United's player, but Patrick, we should enjoy watching him and encourage him to keep doing what he's doing.
How important or how intuitive was it? Because you said a few weeks back that you had to find a way of getting both those two in the team together, and you can see now that the relationship they've got on the pitch, and as you say, Ahmad's not Sunderland's player, and ongoing, I suppose, Patrick Roberts, over the years it's been inconsistency, but now he's got a player alongside of him who's bringing out consistency. I mean,
I think good players want to play with good players. and that's not a slur on anybody else. That is just, I think we've got some really top players, and they can play and link with each other, and they see the movement, the weight of their pass, the cleverness of they recognise where the space is, and they leave the ball in the space for the run. And they do that every game just about. The two of them link in. So I think we should all enjoy watching them, and hopefully their brilliance can unlock the defences and we can score the goals. And the likes of Ross Stewart and Jack Clark, who will benefit of coming in off the other side at the back post, can benefit from the amazing talent we have attacking down the opposition's left-hand side.
And Craven Cottage, finally. I mean, it's one of those grounds. It used to be like going to Highbury. You always had a buzz going there. Traditional, tight-knit, old ground, Craven Cottage. Even with the development still, a fantastic place to go and watch football.
Yeah. Still get change in the cottage. You still go into that little cottage in the corner and go into them dressing rooms, and you come out in the corner, walk across the pitch or run onto the pitch that side. And the difference now, of course, they've got this amazing stand that hangs over the river, and it's not completely finished, I don't think, but there is supporters in there at the moment on either side. So it's a beautiful stadium. It's a wonderful place to go and play your football. The fans are right on top of you. I think we'll go and compete and give a good account of ourselves and make it a good game. I can't sit here and think we're going to go and dominate and come out on top. Like some weeks I will say to my team, we have to make them feel inferior. We are better than them. We have to get the ball and we have to play, and they have to feel on the back foot. This is a Premier League side who are doing extremely well this year with a really talented manager and some really, really special players. So let's just go and test ourselves and be positive, and don't be scared, and don't think we have to defend for 90 minutes. And let's see if we can, throw some punches back at them and see if we can score a goal or two.
I said finally, but is this a big chance for Ross Stewart to prove himself against a Premier League team? There's been lots of talk about him and his progress and where he can go, how far he can go, up against a player like Mitrovic at the other end of the pitch if he plays. I mean, you've seen enough of Mitrovic in the Championship.
I think it's probably unfair to say, Ross, what a challenge for you, see whether you can do it. It depends on the team you're playing in, I think. And Mitrovic has become a better player in the Premier League this year, because I think Fulham are a better team now with Willian plays for them. Who's played for Chelsea and played in European Cup finals, etc. And so for Ross, I think he's got a team that if we go and are bright and want to express ourselves, we can create chances. We will have some of the ball around their final third, and hopefully in the chances come for him, he shows what he's all about. If it's a game where we're on the back foot for 90 minutes and we're struggling to get out of our half, it's a bit unfair to say, Ross Stewart really struggles, because the team have to perform for the striker to score goals, in my opinion. Like Mitrovic has now got a team that allows him to score goals, because they're attacking a lot more in the Premier League than they did over previous years, and he's getting a lot more chances and he's taking a percentage of them.
Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett, MBE.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Well, the team's entering the field of play, and at the moment, as it stands, a reprise of the 1973 final against Leeds is still on, because Leeds have beaten Accrington and are in the fifth round.
Sunderland fans.
I wonder what price you'd get.
There's loads of the Sunderland fans down there.
There won't be a price.
Absolute loads.
No, great atmosphere building here. Away to our left, the Putney end is full of 5,500 plus Sunderland fans.
I think the key is today is just enjoy the match, whatever the result.
Old stand, the Stevenage Road stand, the Johnny Haynes stand, as it's now
Spurs
called,
game, I
the
would
old
say,
Archibald
but I
Beach
just don't know who they play.
Stand, it's full as well. The new Riverside stand on the far side, sort of partially open. The central section is not open, but either side of that central section, probably 2/3 full on either side. And so it is a good atmosphere. And as always here, of course, the dugouts are on the opposite side to where we sit in this Johnny Haynes stand. So the players have lined up facing the new Riverside stand. The Fulham team is Marek Rodak in goal, a Slovenian international. Kenny Tete, who's a Dutch international at right back. Issa Diop, who is French, alongside Tosin, who is a good friend of Patrick Roberts. The two of them played together at Manchester City. And at left back is Levin Kazawa, who is a French international. In midfield, Brazilian international Paulinho, alongside Harry Wilson, who's a Welshman. Mana Solomon, an Israeli international, has come in this afternoon. Andreas is a Brazilian international, and Tom Kearney is a Scottish international, with Vinicius, a Brazilian international, up front for Fulham this afternoon. So an impressive Fulham team. Sunderland, Patterson in goal, Hume, Ballard, Bart and Elise, Mishu, Neil, Roberts, Ahmad, Clark and Stewart. Fulham will be in their whites and black. They're defending, by the looks of things, at the moment, the Hammersmith end, and Sunderland in their red and white stripes and black shorts defending the Putney end, in which, of course, the Sunderland fans are housed. Michael Salisbury is the referee, all in black, but we also have the video assistant referee, Graham Scott, this afternoon, because there is VAR in operation for this cup tie.
Well, again, it may not mostly going to be called upon. As I said, we talk a lot about VAR in regards of calls, but also we've got to talk about VAR because any challenges.
Michael Salisbury ready to get us underway.
It's going to be Sunderland Leeds final, telling you.
And the whistle's blown, and finally the ball is tapped back from the centre circle and then cleared down the left wing for a
and we've kicked off. Come on, me Bonnie Barnes.
Andreas, short dive.
I reckon I definitely think there'll be an upset on Spurs. If I were you, I'd go down to the bookies now and put a bet on that one.
And down goes Levin Kazawa, who's on loan from Paris Saint-Germain. There'll be no stranger to Mishu. He's down in the corner. He crosses straight into the arms of Anthony Patterson, who's all in yellow this afternoon in front of that bank of Sunderland fans.
The manager of the Spurs, it's Conte, isn't it?
Yeah, and again, you've got to mention the support, the away support, Sunderland supporters. Again, you know, the Fulham supporters.
I don't know, I'll have to throw that over to the panel, I'm afraid, sorry.
Here, which makes the atmosphere.
Remarkable, really, bearing in mind with all the problems on the railways, etc. And they'll do it all again next week at Millwall. As here in midfield is Ahmad. Well, it looks like his shirt's being pulled this way and that, but the referee's let it go, and the ball rolled into the Sunderland penalty area. He comes back out here, and a shot flicked with the outside of the foot.
That looked a foul. It looked a foul.
It looked a foul. Wilson's shot saved by Patterson.
It could be one of them games today where he's going to let a lot of things go.
Well, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? It looked to me like there was some shirt tugging going on, but the referees let it go. And here come Fulham again down this left-hand side with Solomon. Just tap back to Kearney, out to Kazawa on this left-hand side. And Kazawa plays it back into midfield. And again, flicked away back onto the halfway line for Diop. And back into the Fulham half, and Tosin is actually English.
I can't see him on
he
doing the football.
Plays the ball back to the goalkeeper.
Mum will do you something. Mum will do it.
So on halfway, Kazawa again here in the centre circle to his right hand side. It's rolled on down that right wing. Comes to stanchions in front of us, and suddenly you're watching a player, he disappears behind it. It's come back to Paulinho, though, the Portuguese midfielder, and here he is again. It was he who was tugging the shirt of Ahmad, or we thought he was, and Tosin playing it up, but brought down by Hume, laid off to Ballard at the edge of the area. In front of Andreas, but one back here by Paulinho, and he plays it inside again to Andreas, and he's trying to cut across the midfield, then swings it out on the far side, where it's tapped back to Harry Wilson. And the Welshman to Andreas, back to Kearney, down the right wing again here on the far side, and played back to the corner of the penalty area. Kearney takes it up, picks it up, and they're moving the ball swiftly as it's played towards Kazawa at the far post, but swings round the post for a goal kick. Blackburn 0, Birmingham 1. 0-0 then here in the 4th minute at Craven Cottage, live on BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds. And a goal kick for Sunderland. And we would, as I said before, told that Fulham would start swiftly. They've done just that. Kazawa heads it out.
Yeah, they have started brightly. Sunderland have started a little bit nervous, haven't they?
Slightly. Roberts quickly knocked off the ball here on the left-hand side by the Frenchman Kazawa. It's shuffled out into touch down below us by Dan Neil. It's a throw again to Fulham, a third of the way inside, or not even that now. Kazawa's almost back on the halfway line for this throw on the left-hand side, and he's looking which way to go, left, right, or into the centre here to Vinicius, but it's come to Bart to clear, up towards Stewart, trying to lay it off. It comes back to Roberts on halfway, flicks it into Stewart in the centre circle. Michu laying it off now to Elise on the far side, and then forwards to Clark, back here to Danny Bart, and a prolonged spell, relatively speaking, of passing for Sunderland in these opening few minutes. Down the left-hand side to Elise, closed down by Wilson. One back by Fulham, but one back again. An advantage played after a foul on Michu, and Bart swings it up down the right, looking for Ahmad, cut out by Kazawa, played inside to Tosin, and then pushed forwards and one back by Roberts. Little flick back to Hume, inside to Neil, forwards to Ahmad again, and out here on the right wing to Roberts, halfway inside the Fulham half. Ahmad just inside of him, just behind him is Neil. Neil out to Hume on this right-hand side, and it's tapped out off Hume for a throw again to Fulham back inside their own half. 0-0. Kazawa with the throw. Polinia is pulled down, knocked down by Dan Neil. Another free kick for Fulham. Polinia will take it, the 27-year-old, 6'3", the former Sporting Lisbon midfielder, as a Portuguese international as well. This team, this is the second team, it's bursting with internationals. All the ball now picked up by Clark at the edge of the area. Scores! Jack Clark scores in the 6th minute.
Excellent, Jack Clark.
Picked up the ball just outside the penalty area, edge of the box, kept his cool and plays it into the bottom right corner.
What a good finish by Jack Clark. And again, you know what's happened there. Fulham has tried to play out from the back, and you've got to say Jack Clark has picked his pockets, and he's got on. But what a good finish by Jack Clark.
Pretty much his first touch of the game, Jack Clark, on the left of midfield. Nobody closed him down. He skipped into the penalty area and placed it in the bottom right-hand corner. Sunderland lead by a goal to nil. Well, they've got to say that's the perfect start. Sunderland 1 up here at Craven Cottage. Sunderland's fans erupt away to our left-hand side in the Putney end, and Jack Clark, I suspect he can scarcely believe it himself.
But he still had a lot of work to do, didn't he?
He did. Well, he did well. He now opens up for Ahmad. Ahmad down the right-hand side. Ahmad rolls it into the penalty area, and it's poked back by Tete to the goalkeeper, who manages to clear it. His turquoise kit, Rodak, but he was under pressure again, and he had to be swift. And suddenly, it's Sunderland who are surging with confidence at the moment, leading here at Craven Cottage by a goal to nil.
What
Certainly
a start.
Didn't see that coming with the start that Fulham have made, but we said just moments before how suddenly Sunderland were enjoying a passage of play.
When I have pig's trotters, I boil pig's trotters, yeah?
We're just playing a championship side. They realise that they've got quality in the team.
I tell you what, when that goal went in, I thought it was Fulham, because the roar that went up, I thought that's the home team that scored. It wasn't, it was Sunderland.
Down the left wing here. Solomon just pushed off the pitch. I think Hume was pulling his shirt, but the referees let it go. No VAR called upon. There was no need for that goal. It was clear cut. Here's Ahmad on the right wing now, down in the corner and almost on the goal line. Back inside to Roberts, back to Ahmad on this right-hand side. And behind them is Hume, inside again to Roberts. Roberts with his left foot swings it into the penalty area, but hooked away by Tete, only as far as Ahmad again, and he's dribbled into the penalty area. Skip 1-2, goes down, no penalty. I wonder if that'll be looked at. He's still on the deck, Ahmad. I'm sure VAR will look at it, but a long-range effort from Ballard goes wide. Ahmad's back on his feet. And it's a goal kick. 1-0 then to Sunderland. Rochdale 0, Carlisle 1 in League 2. Here on the left.
Well, we've got some good players.
He tried to
we have got
forwards.
Some brilliant players.
The last time Sunderland played here in the FA Cup, they won 3-1 back in 2015. Here, Fulham trying to get out of their own third. They can't at the moment. Kazawa on the left, another block by Roberts, another throw to Fulham. 10th minute, Sunderland leading 1-0. Kazawa again with his throw on the left-hand side. The Fulham left-back this afternoon in place of Anthony Robinson, who normally plays. And now Kearney's trying to get away, crashes into Clark, no foul. Clark gets the ball back to Bart, forwards to Hume, to Michu on halfway. Ballard forwards again on the right, Ahmad out to Roberts, Roberts back to Ahmad, and Ahmad back here to Ballard, forwards again to Ahmad. Ahmad just inside the Fulham half, plays it back to Bart at the back of the centre circle. Out on the left, Elise to Clark, the goal scorer. He's under pressure.
It's all Sunderland at the minute, like.
The ball back. Andreas plays it out on the right wing to Wilson and gets it back again, Andreas. And now Fulham on the attack. The cross from Andreas will be put behind by Trey Hume.
Wait until Mitrovic comes on, he'll destroy us.
Corner.
Yeah, they're going to make sure these corners here because they're big lads. Diop and Tolson as well coming up, the two centre-backs.
Yeah, they are big.
Oh.
I mean, they're enormous, actually. Diop, 6'4", Tosin, 6'5". Vinicius isn't small, and nor's Polinia. They're all up. Andreas will take the corner on the left-hand side.
We battering these so far, says KXA. Was certainly
Andreas
on,
then from the left, near post, headed clear by Michu. Back though, it comes to Solomon, and out on the left-hand side into the box it's played from Andreas, gets it back again when it's cleared and closed down by Michu and Neil, and skips inside here now to Kearney from Solomon, and Kearney in the penalty area still. He shoots, it takes a deflection, hangs in the air, headed out by Ballard, an overhead clearance by Ahmad up to the halfway line. Here's Tete to Kearney, out to Andreas on the left-hand side. Andreas back to Tete, who's on the left, back to Tosin in the centre circle, and then across on the far side to Issa Diop, a former West Ham player who'll be no stranger to Elise ahead of him down that side. Now back to goalkeeper Marit Rodak, 16 caps for Slovakia. I said Slovenia earlier, didn't I? It was Slovakia. Here's Andreas over the halfway line, motoring on now, rolls it down the right of the penalty area. On the left, it's played in low into the 6-yard box, and Ballard clears it. Polinia to Andreas again. Tete's gone down the right, crosses first time, and it's going to be nodded down into the penalty area by Kearney. He's been closely monitored by Hume at the moment. In goes Roberts, and Hume gets a foot to it again. Another corner to Fulham.
And what Sunderland have got to do, they've got to work with the stall. As simple as that. You know, we do know that Fulham will have a lot of possession off the ball. It's important that we keep our shape.
Andreas again then with the corner on the left.
Don't switch off.
Short this time, back to Harry Wilson. He plays it now inside to Kearney, back out wide. Andreas' first time cross. Oh, over the bar. Tosin threw himself at it. I think he might have headed it into the floor and over.
Tosin, no, Diop.
Yeah,
Diop.
Was it Diop that got the touch? Tosin went in after it and hit the deck. but it's gone over, and it's a goal kick to Sunderland, who still lead here 1-0 in the 14th minute.
Was it Tosin? I think it's Tosin.
It was Tosin. He threw himself at it, didn't he? In the, I think he head it down off the deck, but whatever it happened, it went looped up over the bar. Throw to Fulham on the left-hand side here. Kazawa is going to take this just inside the Fulham half. That Riverside stand looms over the pitch on the far side. Back to Kazawa, forwards to Vinicius. He gets, tried to get it back from Kearney on the left-hand side here, or Solomon, but in the end it's knocked out for a throw. Joe, and the assistant is right. It came off a Fulham player. The Fulham supporters around us are furious, but it's a Sunderland throw. And Hume almost on halfway on the right-hand side here, waiting to get the ball back to take the throw. We've finally been offered the actual match on our monitor in front of us, but too late to see a replay of that last attempt by Fulham. Vinicius battling with Ballard and Barr, and the ball comes out for a throw on this left-hand side. Kazawa again with it. Now it's poked out again by Fulham.
Thank you.
Thank you. Fulham keep picking the ball up, going to take the throw, but that came off a Fulham player. They're arguing with the referee, but that definitely came off the Fulham man. Vinicius now in the face of Michael Salisbury, pleading that was a Fulham throw, but it wasn't. Hume takes the throw to Neil, back to Ballard, back again to Patterson. He kicks up in the air down this right-hand side. Kazawa got a head to it, comes forwards from Tosin, and then won by Mishu. In his own half, under pressure, it gets down to Roberts on the touchline, back into the middle, left for Stewart here at the back of the centre circle, but whipped off his feet by Harry Wilson, who taps it again on the right to Tete, and now Paulinho wins it from Ahmad, back to Tete, and down the right wing to Andreas, back into the Fulham half. Tete back to Diop, and Diop across to Tosin here, and Tosin back to Diop. Bristol City 1, West Bromwich Albion 0 in the FA Cup. 1-0 to Sunderland here in the 16th minute. Paulinho swinging the ball over onto this left-hand wing, drops to Solomon, inside just a couple of yards to Kazawa, who's seen a lot of the ball in this opening 17 minutes, but run back by Roberts. Roberts is on the break again through the middle here, looking to try and get Stewart in, but across comes Diop.
He's gone.
And Stewart's gone. He's gone. He's down.
I think his hamstring's gone.
It could be his hamstring.
He's pulled up. He's had a knock. He's had his hamstring, or he's got a knock on his knee.
That is not good.
Tell you.
We're in the 17th minute.
Tell you.
And
he's beating the floor. Yeah. We spoke about this before the game in regards of that we do need another out-and-out striker. And we talked about Ellis Sims.
So
this is going to put a different spin on the game.
It will, won't it? Because he's getting treatment now. He burst into the penalty area on the shoulder of Diop. He pulled up straight away, and nothing that Diop did. You could just see it. You know it. You know exactly what's happened. He immediately pulled up. His hamstring.
He knows.
They're stretching his leg at the moment. Pete Brown's down there. They're sort of manipulating the lower leg actually at the moment. But it's Chris. It's tell you, maybe having a word with Mishu over there. But on his back, hands over his forehead. Ross Stewart, I think he probably fears the worst as well.
Yeah.
The manipulation still taking place down at the corner of the bottom right corner of the penalty area.
The only one that can put on is
who would you bring on? I mean, it's there's no out-and-out striker on the bench.
I think they might put Bennett and put Clark up front.
What would you do? I mean, would you put
Bennett on and put
Jack Clark?
Yeah.
You say in the middle, and
it might put him in the middle,
Bennett
or even
on the wing,
or even put Ahmed in the middle. But see, he might have another reoccurrence of that last injury there. The way he went down.
I know it is a worry. There's no question. I think Bennett is.
No, it's not.
No,
Bennett.
It's not Bennett, is it?
No.
Is it Barr?
Barr, maybe.
Who's cut his hair. Just to confuse us. This isn't good. The stretcher's been brought across, and I think everybody's worst fear, isn't it? Ross Stewart picks up a hamstring injury again.
And that's why we need another striker.
And he's been lifted onto the stretcher, and he's going to be carried off now. That's bad news for Sunderland.
It's a bad view. Yeah.
He's
Indeed.
been carried across here to the near side. He'll be carried off down to the dressing rooms in the corner. Abdul Barr will be his replacement. But it's taken a bit of a shine off the 1-0 lead for Sunderland. And the Fulham fans around us applauding as Ross Stewart is carried off here, down in front of us. And it'll be Barr who comes on to replace him, and now to see how that what we're going to see. I think you're right back, Clark. I think it's going to go through the middle.
Clark's gone through the middle. Barr's going to play on the left-hand side.
You know, it's one of those situations where Tony Mowbray could be thinking afterwards, should I have played him? It was the FA Cup, but I think he made the right decision. You can't question the decision that Stewart should have started this game. Could have happened any time.
All it does is hasten that you need to get a striker in.
Yeah.
You know, again, we're going to miss him, not just going forward, but defensively.
Yeah. A change made then. Barr is on. Clark's playing up front. Ahmad and Roberts. And here Fulham. Tosin up to Vinicius, but won back by Ahmad into the path of Clark. Vinicius tackles him. It falls for Tete, and he rolls it back to the goalkeeper, all in light blue, away at the Hammersmith end. It's still 1-0 to Sunderland, but we've had a 3-4 minute stoppage while Ross Stewart received treatment and then carried off. And here's Hume on the right on halfway. Roberts, a tackle comes off Kazawa. They hate this assistant down this near side, but he's pretty much getting it right. And back it goes to Danny Barr, and back again to Patterson, all in yellow. The ball swept up over the halfway line. Tosin heads it down. Polinia puts it forwards, but Elise to Mishu, back to Bart. Out to Elise, back to Bart. Now Neil. And Neil on the shoulder of Kearney. Out to Elise on the left-hand side, looking for Clark, but he'll be beaten to it by Diop, who plays it back to Rodak. And he drives it up to Elise, who heads it forwards through the middle. Neil trying to get a foot on the end of it, but it's a little bit too much of a stretch, and Tosin back to the goalkeeper. You couldn't really tell which is the Premier League team and which is not from the opening 22 minutes, could you?
No, it's Fulham did start brightly. You know, they kept the ball well. We couldn't get out of our own half, but you know, when the opportunity come, and that's the difference, especially when you're playing away from home, you've got to take them.
Diop across to Tosin. Tosin up towards the halfway line, over halfway, now out wide, blocked by Roberts, but he just stumbles slightly, and Kearney gets it to Kazawa. It takes a deflection forwards as he tried to get it in the penalty area, and then Andreas looking for Kearney, stabbed away by Ballard. Here it's picked up by Barr, trying to get the ball out to Clark on the left, but Andreas wins it and then loses it to Barr. Barr, little back heel to Ahmad, but there's a player down, Polinia. Referee stop play, so Polinia can get treatment.
Interesting. Why did he stop play?
Well, I will be interested to see what happens for the restart, whether it's a free kick, and has he deemed it a foul, or was it a drop ball? Another stoppage. The Portuguese midfielder getting treatment in the middle. We're live on BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds, and it's Southampton 1, Blackpool 0 in the FA Cup. And don't forget, on Tuesday night it's the second leg of Newcastle United's League Cup semi-final at St James's Park. We'll have that live on BBC Radio Newcastle. Polina is sitting up on the edge of the centre circle. I didn't see anything in a challenge, and he's helped up to his feet now, and he will have to go off, of course, but he's walking off okay. Elise returns a drink to the bag of the physio as he walks off alongside João Polina, and it'll be a drop ball, and it's going to be to Dan Neil in the centre circle. We're in the 24th minute. It's Fulham 0, Sunderland 1, but the bad news is Ross Stewart has been carried off. Here's Roberts down the right wing, trying to cut inside now, rolls it into Ahmad in the penalty. Lovely back heel to Roberts. Roberts, another ball into Clark here. It won't quite fall for him, but Ahmad's there trying to slot it home, but low down to the keeper's right. Unlucky. He makes the block.
Great combination again between
Lovely
Ahmad
football
and
again, though, isn't it? The confidence of those players now. Nothing is too big for them to take on, if you like. Across to Diop, back across to Tosin, and he's bringing this out and then playing it across again to Diop on the far side. Patrick Roberts will have his family here today. They only live a stone's throw away, really, relatively speaking, in South London. This is where he started his career. And now Solomon taking it across the centre out to Tete on the right wing, and he gets the ball back again and then pulls it back behind him. I think it's Wilson who then plays it back almost on halfway to Diop, and Diop down the right wing again. Tete lays it off to Andreas, and Andreas now trying to get down the right for Tete of the penalty area. His cross towards Solomon drops on the goal line on the left of the penalty area. He now tries to lay it off and does to Kazawa, back to Solomon, and Solomon, Ahmad's on his shoulder, out to Kazawa again, and now here picked up and played into Polina by Kearney, back to Tosin, and out wide on the far side, Wilson to Tete, back to Diop on halfway, in the centre circle now to Tosin in the 26th minute. Sunderland still leading 1-0. It's swung across to the right wing by Polina and then laid off to Andreas. Andreas behind the stanchion comes out into full view, and here's Polina. He tries a shot, sails into the crowd, the red and white shirts behind Anthony Patterson's goal, and Sunderland still lead 1-0.
Yeah, and I think it's important that Sunderland keep the shape. Yeah, they're going to have a lot of possession of the ball. They're going to go left and right. They're going to go short, go long, go back. But it's important that they don't come through us. You know, if they want to take long shots, fantastic. Let them do that.
Patterson then with the goal kick. The ball placed centrally on his 6-yard line. Sunderland in their red and white stripes this afternoon. Up it goes towards Michu. Gets a flick to it with his head. It's going to come back to Tosin though, and he will play it back to the goalkeeper. Closed down by Ahmad, but he lifts it over him out to Tosin on the left of the penalty area. He plays it back to Rodak. He drives it forwards this time. Ballard in the Fulham half heads it forwards, but it drops to Kearney, and Tom Kearney will bring this forwards up over the halfway line. He knows Tony Mowbray. Out it comes again to Tosin. A couple of players in this Fulham squad known to Tony Mowbray, mainly through loans. Here is Tete on the right wing, back again to Diop, and Diop back to the goalkeeper. So good pressing from Sunderland. Diop again on the right-hand side, inside the Fulham half still. Back into Tosin on the left of midfield. Out wide to Kazawa. He's tried to swing it down the line, looking for the Israeli international Solomon, who's on loan from Shakhtar Donetsk. And there's a smile on the face of the assistant as he gives a throw to Fulham, as he's applauded by the home supporters. They're very polite in these parts. Tosin with a long ball up into the penalty area. Headed out by Elise. Down goes Andreas. The referee's looked at it and given nothing. I'm sure they'll be looking at it at Stockley Park. But eventually the ball goes out on the far side for a Fulham throw. Back in play, Tosin.
And that's what Clark's got to do. You know, his retention of the ball. The ball's being played out. He's got to get hold of it.
Polina.
Gets a breather.
Forwards to Andreas again, back inside. It comes into the middle, but cleared by Dan Neil. Ahmad. Clark's made a run, but it's cut out by Diop. Back into the centre circle to Kearney. And Tom Kearney to Andreas, back to Kearney. Across here to Tosin. And Tosin up onto the halfway line. Began his career with Manchester City. He had a season loan at Blackburn. He's known to Tony Mowbray, one of those that is no stranger to him. Out to Tete on the far side, inside to Andreas. Andreas gets the ball forwards again here now, edge of the penalty area. Oh, and Wilson's attempt just past it.
And one thing which we can't do is we can't dive in. There's a couple of times there where we've tried to nick the ball. You can't do that, you've got to stay on your feet.
Whipped it in past the angle. And the half hour now. Sunderland still leading 1-0. And Patterson's being encouraged to get moving with this goal kick by Michael Salisbury. Up over the halfway line. Out on the far side, kept in by Elise. Drops for Polina there. On to Andreas. Battles away and gets away from Michu. Looking for Vinicius in the middle, but it's come through safely enough in the end to Patterson. Bristol City 2, West Bromwich Albion 0. Ahmad away down this right hand side, leaves it for Roberts. Roberts into Clark. Oh, he's played it back to Ballard on the halfway line. He's got away from Vinicius, comes off the back of Polina. He's tried to get it over on the left wing to Elise, who got a long way forwards, but it's come out again for a throw to Sunderland on the left. So we're in the 31st minute, and Sunderland have been leading since the 6th, but we will have 3, 4, maybe more minutes added on after Ross Stewart went down with what looks like another hamstring injury. Elise plays it forwards.
It's offside.
And it's headed away by Tosin, drops to Diop, clears it up off the head of Andreas and back to Ballard, to Hume, and Hume now trying to find Roberts just inside the Fulham half. Lovely ball to Ahmad. Ahmad now driving onto the penalty. Just played too much of it, showed too much of it to Tosin, his former teammate of Patrick Roberts, and Ahmad just put his head in his hands. He knows. But there was a glimmer of an opening there. Here's Kearney back to Tosin, across to Diop. Diop now just short forwards to Polina, and then to Kearney again on the short pass, back again to Tosin, across to Diop. Diop out wide to Tete. Kenny Tete gets it forwards but straight to Elise, looking for Barr, comes back off him though for Andreas, and then out for a throw to Fulham in front of the Sunderland dugout. Tete with it, back it goes to Diop, and Diop now into the centre of his own half. Clark shadowing him, gets it across here to Kazawa, and Kazawa forwards to Solomon. Solomon cutting inside and Neil's in front of him, and he's at the edge of the centre circle, plays it back to Diop. Diop out wide again to Tete on the halfway line, then forwards to Wilson down the right wing. Wilson cutting inside, laying it off then to Polina, and then forwards to Wilson again, but lost, and Elise is trying to get it away, but Andreas has won it back. Polina, he rides the challenge of Michu, well, 2 challenges, gets it back to Diop, and Diop back here to Tosin, and Tosin in the 33rd minute now out to Kazawa. Inside, nearly, well, it was cut out by Dan Neil, but he couldn't really get enough control of it, and all he did was push it back to Diop. Now Polina, forwards through the middle. Vinicius, well, he's got a little clip in the ankle from behind him by Ballard. It's a free kick in the centre circle to Fulham. And Ballard apologises. Forwards come Diop and knocks the ball across to Tosin. And Tosin back to Diop. And Diop again to Tosin. It's dry here in West London this afternoon. It's cold though and cloudy. Forwards to Kearney, down the line to Kazawa, and then down to Solomon. Roberts trying to get the ball off him, but he's turned away from him. Solomon down to the goal line, twists away again and plays it back to Kearney just outside the box. Kearney's cross comes off the back of Dan Neal, out for a throw. Again, applause for the assistant for giving the throw to Fulham. 34th minute, Fulham 0, Sunderland 1. BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds. Down the left, Kazawa gets it back again from Vinicius. Then it's lost to Clark. He slips and it drops to Kazawa. Inside to Kearney. Blackburn 1, Birmingham 1 in the cup. Down the right wing, Wilson. Halfway inside the Sunderland half. Now Andreas again picking this up. And Andreas squares it to Kearney. And Kearney forwards on the left. Kazawa back to Tosin, across to Diop, and then to Polinia in the middle, just in front of the centre circle. Out wide again, Wilson to Andreas, but runs past him. Bart gets it out to Ahmad, who lays it off behind him to Neil. It's a pass cut out by Kazawa in front of Roberts, and now Solomon in the middle. Solomon will shoot, it crashes off the back of Dan Ballard.
Great block.
Out for a throw.
But that's what we can't afford to be doing, Nick, especially when we win the ball. We've got to keep hold of it.
And that, as the advertising board on the far side says, was a full stop by Dan Ballard. It's down in the penalty area again, though, for Fulham. Wilson stabs it forwards, but it goes nowhere, really. Elise clears it, but straight to Andreas.
Give it away again.
And Andreas now trying to find a way through, plays it back to Tosin, forwards to Kearney. And Kearney in the middle of the Sunderland half, out wide to Solomon, and Solomon now taking on Roberts. Gets into the penalty area, good tackle by Roberts. Now Hume gets it out to Ahmad on the right hand side here, and he chips it down the right wing, but out it goes.
We give it away again. You cannot keep giving the ball away. Sooner or later you'll get punished.
Polinia back to Diop in the centre circle, and then Tete on the halfway line, down the line to Wilson. Wilson plays it back into the centre circle to Tosin. Fulham in their white shirts, black shorts and white socks. And here's Solomon again. On his shoulder is Roberts, back to Tosin. And he now plays it up to the edge of the area. And it's caught by Patterson.
Well done, Patterson.
Wilson was coming through.
Good distance, sharp off his line.
Middlesbrough 1, Watford 0 in the Championship this afternoon. The ball bowled out by Patterson to Elise, forwards to Barr, back inside to Mishu.
Give it away.
He's tackle but won it back, and he plays it back to Bart. Bart now looking for Ahmad in the centre circle, but Tosin gets ahead of him, literally, and a throw for Sunderland on the right wing, halfway inside their half. 37th minute, Sunderland still lead 1-0. Jack Clark's goal in the 6th minute, and Hume to Ahmad, back to Hume, lifts it up to the halfway line. Tosin forwards looking for Vinicius, stretches out his left foot but can't get a touch to it. Hume in the middle now to Mishu, and now Roberts over the halfway line. There are runners here. He's got Clark forwards but runs into Tosin, wins it back off Tosin, and now Roberts trying to get the ball through to Barr in the penalty area, onto the goal line. Barr checks and then comes back down the left of the penalty area, trying to find an opening here, and it bobbles eventually the cross into the hands of the keeper at the near post. Couldn't get any lift on it at all, and the goalkeeper will bowl it out to Kazawa on this left-hand side. Plays it back to Tosin. Tosin across to Diop. Diop plays it back to the goalkeeper, and now Tosin again. Back over on the right-hand side to Diop, forwards to Andreas. Andreas back to Tosin. Tosin up to the halfway line on the left, looking for Solomon. Takes it well, taking on Hume, cuts across the back of the area, into the penalty area. Vinicius, he tries a shot, it's blocked, tumbles over the back of Danny Barr. No penalty. And despite the curdled cries behind us, it was no penalty. But, back to Tosin. Forward down the left-hand side to Kazawa. Kazawa on the left here, looks up, crosses. Vinicius throws himself at it, but it flies past
the ball's
him.
Coming straight back.
Elise plays it up into the.
And that's where
half.
Sometimes we've got to be a little bit braver, shall we say?
We're in the 39th minute. Ross Stewart carried off. There'll be 5 minutes added on as the ball down to the corner on the right-hand side and behind for a corner kick.
And this is where you miss the likes of Corey Evans, maybe, you know, his experience just to put his foot on the ball, get a few touches in.
Fulham's third corner. This from the right-hand side at the Putney end. And Andreas, the Brazilian, won a cap in 2018, so he's a Brazilian international in theory, and here he is now to take this corner from the right-hand side. Hangs in the air a moment, and it's headed down by Tete and round the post. It'll be a goal kick.
And that's a prime example where you're going to miss the likes of Ross Stewart, his height, his defensive work, especially from set pieces.
But it was Kazawa who got was on the end of that, but he headed it well wide, and it went past Vinicius, who slams his foot against the post in frustration. Vinicius, 27 years old now, the Brazilian. He was signed from PSV Eindhoven in the summer. Yet to, I sort of always feel a bit tempted to, shall I mention this, he's yet to score, and I feel that now I've said that he probably will, but fingers crossed he won't. It's been frustrating for him so far this afternoon as the ball bounces out for a throw to Sunderland on this right-hand side, halfway inside their own half. 1-0.
31 on the chat watching. If you could just click the thumbs up, please, and hit the subscribe button
BBC Radio
if you
Newcastle.
It's free to
BBC
do so,
Sounds, SAFC.com.
Thanks.
Here's Tosin putting the ball forward straight to Michu. Michu is knocked down by Polinia, who's saying that Michu dived. I find that quite difficult when 6'5" a Portuguese is falling on top of you, that you dived. Here's Roberts down the right side of the Fulham penalty area. He's got Kazawa in front of him, goes round him into the penalty area. Now under the path of Amal. Oh,
he's got to hit the target.
With his
got to hit the target.
He's played it the wrong side of the post.
Gary Bennett's nearly wet his knickers there.
He's trying to slip it inside the post.
He's tried to do what he did at Middlesbrough. He's given him the eyes, and he's tried to put it back in the left-hand corner, and he's missed the target completely.
I think Ahmad knows that should be 2-0.
Great opportunity.
But he's put it just past the post.
Again, great work by Roberts.
That was terrible by Diallo. That was
play
awful.
was lovely from the pair of them again, Roberts and Ahmad.
What the fuck he's trying to do there?
And just the wrong side of the
blanks.
hand post. Still 1-0 to Sunderland. Advantage played after a foul
in the centre
circle. Solomon keeps the ball in, drops for Andreas, and cleared on the line. What a block by Ballard on the line from Andreas.
Great block
by Ballard. Nearly 1-1. Cleared off the line by Sunderland.
But Ballard on the line blocks it. What a block. 1-0 still to Sunderland. Incredible.
You know,
who was marking number 18?
You look at the yeah, we missed down, and then Fulham have gone down the other end. They could easily have equalised.
Ballard, though, a bollard. And it comes back to Dan Bollard, and he plays it back to Patterson. Andreas goes to close him down. Cleared by Patterson up into Diop's path, and he'll play it back to the Fulham keeper. And we are still at 1-0 in the 43rd minute. And here's Tosin to Kearney through the middle here up to the centre circle for Fulham. Clark in front of him. He lays it off to Diop on the right hand side, down the right again to Tete to cross, looking for Vinicius, cleared by Hume, out to Dan Neil, little flick, and he's caught by Polinia, who's furious, falls to his knees in dramatic fashion.
It's gone to book unless
and Elise's been booked.
Yeah, he's had 5 minutes to book him, and he did nothing.
I don't know what that's about.
What's he booked Elise for?
I don't know why Elise's been booked, but Polinia.
What the hell's he booked Elise
for?
for?
Going down on his knees and waving his arms around, but The free kick to Sunderland. Fulham, FA Cup runners in 1975. Remember who beat them?
In 1975. West Ham.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
All London final.
What was the score?
I think it was 2-0, wasn't it? If memory serves me correctly.
You're testing me now.
I'm testing me now as well.
You know, like Tommy Cooper.
I think Trevor Brooking scored, didn't he, with his head? Here's Ahmad out to Roberts on the right wing. Flicks it back inside to Ahmad at the corner of the penalty area. Got Hume in support here down the right with Roberts. And Roberts back to Hume. Hume back inside to Ahmad. And Ahmad back out to Hume. Slowly being forced out. But inside again to Dan Neil and up to Clark just outside the D. Clark back behind him to Neil. And Dan Neil through to Ahmad. Lovely pass. And Ahmad flicking it into the penalty area. But Diop gets it clear. Only as far as Hume. Down the line again to Roberts. And Roberts now taking on Solomon. He kept the ball in, but the ball rolls out behind for a goal kick.
What they've got to do now, Nick, is manage the game till half-time.
Yeah, they don't want to concede, do they, before
players and see the game out to half-time and Tony Mowbray can settle them down at half-time.
2-0 winners at Hull in the last round, Fulham. Here's Diop, the edge of his area, plays it across the penalty box to Tosin, back across to Diop. Only seconds remain of the 45. Lee Doty's on the far side. And Taylor it was who scored the 2 goals for West Ham.
Alan Taylor.
I'll tell you what, you certainly can't tell the difference quality-wise between the sides.
It was Alan Taylor. Here's Kearney looking for Andreas down the right with the overlap coming from Tete. He crosses and is headed away by Ballard out into midfield again. Polinia nods it down now on the right wing.
What the hell was it for?
It slipped inside again to Andreas, and I didn't see how much time was added on.
4 minutes.
Was it 4 minutes? Was it? And Luton
About maybe a minute or 4 minutes of added time.
4 minutes left on the board now on the advertising banner. 4 minutes, and with 3.5 minutes left. Here's Polinia on to halfway behind him. Diop, short pass forwards again to Wilson, just inside the Sunderland half. Back again to Diop. Diop forwards again to Kearney now, just right at the centre circle. And back again to Tosin. Cross to Diop. Forwards down the right-hand side to Tete in front of Marco Silva. And then inside to Polinia, but tackled by Elise. And now Ahmad, he span round Tosin, but the ball forwards then to Clark. Well, the keeper read it and ran out quickly.
Oh, he's put his flag up now. He's put his flag up for offside. But what a turn by Ahmed.
He span on a sixpence.
He did. A tanner.
And we mentioned both these sixpence and tanner, but I actually have to mention here that Dom, back in the studio, will not have ever heard of a sixpence or a tanner. So for his benefit, he's span on a 5-pence coin. Now Kearney's gone down, and it'll be a free kick to Fulham on the left-hand side of central midfield, and Tosin takes it. 2 minutes just over left of the first half. Diop back across to Tosin here, and as I'm reminded by Relton, of course, he's there with all the knobs in the studio, that a 5-pence piece was a shilling back in the day. And here's Kazawa on the left-hand side, deep in the Sunderland half, trying to get past Hume, gets to the goal line. Hume goes down, free kick, says the referee.
Excellent defending.
And Hume, you hear the supporters behind. They've resumed the Gooch refrain for Hume now.
Great defending.
Hume.
Well, what's your thoughts of the first half, everyone?
Take the free kick. 1-0 Sunderland lead as we head into the break. Patterson strolling back with the ball to place it carefully, I'm sure. And right side of his penalty area. Encouraged to get on with it by Michael Salisbury, and does so. This kick driven down the right
the matches
wing.
Later on.
Hume goes up with Kazawa, and silence as the assistant flags for a throw for Sunderland.
I'm sure they're watching the matches later on.
Neil trying to flick it through to Roberts, stabs it back into the path of Neil, edge of the penalty area. Neil trying to slot it across to Clark, but it's just knocked out to Mishu. And now on the edge of the penalty area is Barr. He's played it inside in the middle to Neil. He tries a shot, crashed into Polinia. played out by Solomon, picked up by Hume, and out wide now to Ahmad. Roberts, of course, not far away. Ahmad trying to slip in between two players, but can't get through, goes down. Middlesbrough 2, Watford 0 in the Championship.
Middlesbrough 2, Watford 0.
Clear, but a foul on Kearney. A free kick, quickly taken, up to Wilson in the centre circle. There's 15 seconds left. Then now Neil is fouled, but the advantage played by the referee.
Go on, Sunderland, go on.
Ahmad is in the penalty area. Though, and a corner is it for Sunderland, their first of the game.
And it's got a yellow card, hasn't he? That Wilson.
It was a good advantage. And almost through.
I just think it's really, really funny.
It would be to get a second goal, wouldn't it?
Nick Barnes, and then the background.
You know, Fulham will know that they're in a game.
Yes.
No, corner for Sunderland. Corner for Sunderland.
The corner will be taken by Clark on the left-hand side. It's curled in here, but headed powerfully away, and the half-time whistle blown by Michael Salisbury. Well, a bittersweet first half, really, for Sunderland. They lead 1-0, but they've lost Ross Stewart to what we assume is a hamstring injury, which is bad news. But it's been a thoroughly entertaining first 45 minutes.
Yeah, it has indeed, especially if you're a neutral. It's been a good footballing game. It's been a good test for both teams. Both teams have had good opportunities, and I think, you know, it won't be too long before, I think, especially 15 minutes into the second half, I think Fulham will be called upon. They're big hitters.
Yeah, you know, that is always the danger. They've got them on the bench. Mitrovic, Willian, you know, they're on the bench to call upon. Harrison Reed, you name it, they can certainly strengthen. A second goal would be something special.
Where to go?
Yeah, Mark Venus walking off with Jack Clark, doing a little mini coaching session as they head off towards the dressing room, which is of course in the cottage in the corner here away to our left, and that is right in front of all the Sunderland fans who have greeted their team as it leaves the pitch with roars and cheers, and Patterson then just punched the air just to get them G'd up for the second half. But thoroughly entertaining first half. Sunderland taking the lead after 6 minutes. Jack Clark composed finish from the edge of the penalty area in the bottom right corner, but then 10-11 minutes later Ross Stewart went down with a hamstring. The other notable moment was Dan Ballard's block on the line, 10 yards out. Andreas is, how powerful was the shot? I mean, it looked to me like it was a goal.
Great defending.
Fantastic block by
No, that's reactions by Ballard as a defender. The first thing he's done is gone back onto his line, protects his goal, and he's got his rewards.
That was a clearance worthy of a 1973 FA Cup final by Dan Ballard. So at the break, we've got the second half to come on BBC Radio Newcastle, BBC Sounds and SAFC.com. It is Fulham 0, Sunderland 1.
A cane toad so giant, wildlife officers thought it was a fake, has been found in a North Australian rainforest. He's been nicknamed Toadzilla.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
So that toad, right, he's like, I've overindulged over Christmas, I have had a few chocolates, I have put on a little bit of weight, and then someone's come up and gone, look at that fat toad.
The park ranger who spotted him said that it looked like a football with legs.
Weirdly, that's how people have described me since Christmas, actually.
The sound of the Northeast at breakfast.
When you wake up on Tuesday, I'll be giving away a pair of tickets to see Newcastle take on Southampton in the second leg of the League Cup semi-final.
BBC Radio Newcastle, making a difference in the Northeast.
Total Sport.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
A mixed first 45 minutes for Sunderland then. They lead 1-0 at Fulham by a goal to nil. Jack Clark after 6 minutes, but Ross Stewart going off with what didn't look like a particularly good injury. So
somebody subscribe to your channel,
Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett back with full commentary of the second half shortly. That is one of 11 FA Cup fourth round games today. 2 of them have already finished. Leeds United of the Premier League won 3-1 away at Accrington Stanley of League One. Jack Harrison, Junior Firpo and Luis Sinisterra with Leeds goals. There was a consolation late on for the home side. And another Premier League side safely through, Leicester City winning 1-0 away at Walsall of League Two. Kelechi Iheanacho with the only goal of that game midway through the second half. In the half times then, In the 3 o'clock kickoffs, it is Blackburn 1, Birmingham City 1, an old championship battle. Reda Kandra giving Birmingham the lead after 3 minutes. Bradley Dash equalising for Blackburn after 33 minutes. Bristol City 2-0 up on West Brom, another old championship battle. Sam Bell and Alex Scott. Ipswich of League 1 drawing 0-0 at home to the championship leaders Burnley. Grimsby of League 2 1-0 up away at Luton of the championship. Gavin Holohan 2 minutes before half-time. An all League 1 battle between Sheffield Wednesday and Fleetwood Town is goalless at half-time. Southampton are 1-0 up on Blackpool, Premier League beating championship Roman Perro halfway through that first half. There are 2 evening games today, a whole host of games tomorrow as well in the FA Cup, but 2 evening games today. At 6 o'clock it's Preston against Spurs, and then at 8 o'clock Manchester United against Reading.
Get the latest team news, score updates and post-match reaction on Twitter at BBC Newcastle.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
A decent number of EFL games today as well. 3 in the Championship, goalless between Coventry and Huddersfield at half-time. Hull City are 1-0 up on Queen's Park Rangers, Aaron Connolly scoring on his birthday. And Middlesbrough 2-0 up on Watford, Chuba Akpom making it 15 for the season. And then Marcus Force on the stroke of half-time. The early game in League 1 saw Bolton win 2-1 away at Charlton. Dion Charles, who scored and was sent off last weekend, has scored the winner for them today. Burton Albion 1-0 up on Oxford United. That was an own goal. Cheltenham against Port Vale and Lincoln City against Cambridge United, both goalless at half-time. A Giovanni Brown penalty has given Exeter a 1-0 lead at MK Dons. Morecambe are 1-0 up on Bristol Rovers thanks to Dan Crowley. Peterborough United 2-0 up on Portsmouth. Johnson Clark Harris with both of those. Big Dunk's first game in charge of Forest Green Rovers. Duncan Ferguson having left Everton's coaching staff to join Forest Green Rovers, and they're 1-0 up at Shrewsbury at half-time. Jordan Garrick with the only goal. In League 2, no goals between AFC Wimbledon and Stockport, or between Barrow and Northampton.
There's a long way to go to Tipperary.
2-0 up on Salford City. Dom Telford and Dion Conroy. Harrogate losing 1-0 at home to Sutton United. David Ajiboye early on. Hartlepool losing 1-0 at home as well to Colchester United. Fiacre Kelleher after 5 minutes. Mansfield are a couple up on Doncaster. Carlisle are winning 1-0 away at Rochdale. John Kamani Gordon after just 8 minutes in that one. Gillingham winning 3-1 at Swindon. All 4 of those goals coming in the first 13 minutes.
Well, Swindon's only had 31% possession
before finding themselves 3-1 down. And it's goalless between Tranmere and Leyton Orient.
The Newcastle United and Sunderland AFC podcast.
Subscribe on BBC Sounds.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Into non-league then in National League. Gateshead are 1-0 down away
at
Wealdstone at half-time.
The draw's never kind of Sunderland, is it? We're always either
7 minutes before half-time.
The team in our own league
match of today is in National League North. Blythe Spartans
above us away from home. We never get like Melchester Rovers or something like that. It's always
they have to win first of all.
Yeah, you always get the teams like the fucking Arsenal or the Spurs that get the
well, it hasn't gone really well, Colin, at all. It's Blythe Spartans 0, Buxton 1.
It always seems to be the case.
Dealt a real bad blow after 10 minutes when ex-Gated player J.G. O'Donnell limped off and was replaced by Isaac Walker. And then on 14 minutes, they could have went 1 down. A real bad mistake by goalkeeper Alex Mitchell, letting Tom Buxton, who was 10 yards out with the whole goal to hit, fired his shot and hit the crossbar and came back out. A let-off for Blythe. And then at 25 minutes, Sam Hodgson, who's on loan from South Shields, had a great effort. Shot just tipped over the bar by Richardson in the Buxton goal. Great play by Hodgson. And then a minute later, Toby Lee's header just over the bar. Superb cross by Jordan Hickey. But then we've seen a bit of class from Sam Osborne playing wide out on the left. Cut in after 36 minutes and drilled the ball low into the corner of the net for a real good finish. And then right on half-time, Mitchell again was forced to make a great save from Tom Elliott to keep the score down to 1. Graham Fenton will need to have a bit of chat with him at half-time to say they need a bit more in the second half. Half-time score, Blythe 0, Buxton 1.
Paul, thank you very much indeed. Elsewhere then in the Northern Premier League Premier Division, South Shields 1-0 up at Atherton Collieries at half-time. Adisha Kunbi on his debut. Morpeth against Radcliffe is goalless. In the East Division, a couple of goalless games there as well. Dunstan away at Cleethorpes is 0-0, so too is Consett at home to Grimsby Borough. But Hebburn Town are 2-0 up on Bridlington. Joe Walton after 7 minutes, Amar Purwal after 37 minutes. At North Shields, though, losing 1-0 at home to Stocksbridge Park. Steels in the Scottish Lowland League, though, Berwick Rangers 2-1 up away at East Stirlingshire. Liam Buchanan and Lewis Allen with their first half goals will do a local football roundup as always at 5:45.
Everyone has a story to tell.
There's a lot more perks to having alopecia than I thought.
If you're aged 11 to 18, the BBC wants to hear from you.
Just because somebody's disabled doesn't mean that they can't achieve something.
So that your story can be told across TV, radio and online.
I really hope my story has helped people who are going through similar things.
Go to bbc.co.uk/young reporter competition to find out more and see the full rules and privacy notice.
You have a voice that matters.
Entry closes just before midnight on Friday the 31st of March 2023.
And back in just a couple of minutes' time, Sunderland, who are 1-0 up at Fulham at half-time in the fourth round of the men's FA Cup, because it's the fourth round of the women's FA Cup tomorrow. Both Durham and Sunderland in action. Durham are at home to fellow Championship side Crystal Palace. It is a midday kickoff at Maiden Castle. Still tickets available if you fancy getting down to that one. I'm going to try and go along myself tomorrow. Sarah Robson, the most experienced player in the squad, has been speaking to our very own Simon Pride about what they will be facing tomorrow.
Yeah, we're just all really looking forward to it. It's just nice for a change of atmosphere from the league, and it's the FA Cup, so everybody's up for it and looking forward to it.
Home tie is, I guess, what you want most in an FA Cup match, and that's what you've got, so that will at least give you a bit of an advantage.
Yeah, that's what we hope. We've got our little pitch that we train on every day, and it can be a hostile environment for teams coming from other places, because we get a great crowd at Maiden Castle all the time, and especially the amount of travelling we do, it's nice to be at home this weekend.
Is it the sort of draw that you appreciate? Because I guess, you know, we've already previewed this week Sunderland's game. They've got Manchester United, the WSL leaders, which is going to be a great occasion.
It's not good,
but obviously,
it's
probably on paper,
it doesn't matter
a
how
tougher
good a
game.
player is.
Would you have preferred a WSL side to really test yourselves, or do you actually think, you know, against a team that you know pretty well, you're perhaps a bit more confident
not sounding harsh, but you know,
it's
probably being a really, really good,
because
dangerous strike if you can't get on the pitch to play.
The last 3 times we've played against them, so it's a team that we don't take lightly, but it's one that we know that we can compete with, and we know that we can play with. And sometimes when you get some of the glamour ties, you know that it's just going to be a nice day out. A few years ago at Chelsea, it was a great game, but we knew we were never going to beat Chelsea at that time. And so at least it'll be a competitive game that who knows who can win the game at the end of it.
We will find out by about 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. That is Sarah Robson there. So Durham against Crystal Palace kicking off at 12 o'clock. But an hour later than that, kicking off at 1 at Eccleston. As Simon has just mentioned there in the chat with Sarah, Sunderland host the best team in the country at the moment in Manchester United. Mel Ray is Sunderland's head coach, but she told Simon they will not be intimidated by who they're coming up against.
No, I don't think so. We're obviously looking forward to the game, but I don't think there's any real pressure on us. I think we can go out and try and express ourselves and try and cause a cup upset.
And I guess a real gauge of where you're at as well, because if you're up against the best in the business, then, you know, you can really see where you stand as a team and how much you've progressed as a team, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. We've obviously had a tough start to the league season, but since the turn of the year, we're in good form. We've won 3 league games on the spin. Confidence is high, and what better way to test yourself, like you say, against some of the best players in the country. So how do you prepare for this one then? Do you do much that's different to preparing for a regular league game? No, exactly the same preparation. We've watched their last 6 games, strengths, weaknesses, but again, it's about us looking at ourselves and what we can do.
Who was the Preston manager on that game?
On
that game, Jacob, do you know that one?
Successful Sunderland tomorrow as well. No tickets left for that.
It was Lord Knows. Was it Lord Knows? Was it? Is that who it was? Lord Knows, who had like a big plot of land.
Night, of course. Other local fixtures in the basketball. No BBL fixtures for Newcastle Eagles men, but in the WBBL, the women are at home.
See what I mean? I've gone 25 minutes though, bringing talking about Preston, and Jacob has to fetch it up again, didn't he?
Tip off in about half an hour's time, 4:30 that one.
Just pack it in, man.
And in the ice hockey as well at 5:15 this evening, Whitley Warriors away to the D-side Dragons in North Division 1. In tennis, Arina Sabalenka celebrating after winning the women's singles title at the Australian Open in Melbourne. Sabalenka of Belarus beat Elena Rybakina of Kazakhstan in 3 sets, and afterwards she paid tribute to the hard work put in by her support team.
We've been through a lot of, I would say, downs last year. We worked so hard, and you guys deserve this trophy. It's more about you than about me. Thank you so much for everything you're doing for me. I love you guys. Thank you.
Meanwhile, Britain's Alfie Hewitt won the wheelchair singles title. He beat the 16-year-old Japanese player Tokito Oda in straight sets. It's a 7th Grand Slam singles title for Hewitt, who is now targeting winning Wimbledon for the very first time.
When you come into a tournament that you so desperately want to win, and deep down you believe that you can win it, there's one thing to believe it and there's another thing to do it. And I can take so much confidence from this week. I think we haven't sat and had a conversation yet with my team, but that match today could be a step forward for me in my next
team's coming out again.
Career.
Yeah, fingers crossed it is. Congratulations to both. We are going to head back to Craven Cottage now, though. Sunderland leading 1-0 at Fulham in the 4th round of the FA Cup at half-time. Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett are back with full commentary of the second half right after this.
Half-time highlights.
Total Sport.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
All the ball now picked up by Clark at the edge of the area.
Yeah.
Scores! Jack Clark scores in the 6th minute.
Excellent, Jack Clark.
Picked up the ball just outside the penalty area, edge of the box, kept his cool and plays it into the bottom right corner.
What a good finish by Jack Clark. And again, you know what's happened there. Fulham has tried to play out from the back, and you've got to say, Jack Clark has picked his pockets and he's got on, but what a good finish by Jack Clark.
Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett, MBE.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
And as the teams come out here at Craven Cottage, it looks very much like another change for Sunderland. Huggins is going to come on, and it looks like it's Elise that's been replaced. I suspect that's part of the reason being that Elise was rushed back last week. He's played 45 this afternoon, high-intensity football. He hopes he hasn't picked up a knock, but I suspect it's just to freshen things up again.
Well, again, one thing's for sure is that we've lost a little bit more height defensively as well.
Well, a big ask as well for Huggins, who only got back to training this week, and he hasn't had much. Tony Mowbray said he was back on the grass on Thursday. They travelled down yesterday. So, like Elise last weekend, maybe he's being asked to do a job, and Huggins is back. And look, when he came back last time, he impressed. Picked up another injury and has been out a few weeks. But here he is, Sunderland's second change. Sunderland about to get the second half underway. They are defending the Hammersmith end in this second 45. They lead 1-0. And here is Huggins getting his first touch.
Huggins
playing
has
it back
come
to
on.
Danny Bart. Fulham have made no changes. It's headed forwards by Diop to Polinia, and now Andreas, who had that shot blocked by Ballard on the line, and now Huggins getting in front of Wilson and trying to turn away from the Welshman. It comes off for a throw to Fulham.
Mitrovic comes on, he'll destroy us like.
With Liverpool, and now the throw into the penalty area is gone to Neil. Back behind him is Ballard. He plays it out to Ahmad. Polino chasing him, and he plays it out wide to Roberts. He couldn't quite control it, and for once it didn't quite work, and it's gone out for a throw to Fulham again, who will no doubt have Marco Silva's words ringing in their ears. But we're always mindful. He's got the likes of Reed, Willian, De Cordova, Reed and Mitrovic on the bench. And here is Diop to Tete, back to Diop. They are first team regulars. Across to Tosin. Out wide of him is Kazawa. They are not first team regulars. And the ball played down the left wing here, and Solomon trying to get in the penalty area. It comes through and cleared by Huggins, and back out in the middle to Polinia. Back to Diop in the D, on halfway, plays it, rolls it across to Tosin in the 47th minute. Sunderland leading here at Craven Cottage 1-0 since the 6th minute, but they've lost Ross Stewart to injury. And now here goes again the Israeli international, and he's trying to get past Ballard. Solomon gets into the penalty area, still going, but a great challenge
defender
by Danny Bart to clear.
And we've seen it straight away, Nick, that we cannot afford trying to nick the ball. You've got to stay on your feet.
Blackburn 2, Birmingham 1 in the cup. It's come back to Marek Rodak, the Fulham goalkeeper in blue. Bristol City 3, West Bromwich Albion 0 in the cup. Fulham in their white and black, Sunderland in their red and white. and 5,500 plus fans behind the goal at the Putney end, and the ball played out by Fulham behind for a goal kick to Sunderland. With every second, with every minute that passes, they're closer to a place in the 5th round of the FA Cup.
Yes, indeed. And you know, when we first came here, what we was looking for was a display. That's all he's looking for.
Oh, they have impressed.
You know, we said it was a free hit.
They have impressed, there's no question. The conversations we've had and heard around us in the press box at half-time have been Fulham fans and their media saying just how good are Ahmad and Roberts. And here's Roberts down the right side of the penalty area, into the penalty area, skipping through challenges, still going, slipping it here through. Bar! Just wide of the left post. It's another opportunity, and Roberts just skipped through.
Nick, you cannot keep missing these opportunities. You've got
just can't keep missing these opportunities. Like,
what an opportunity!
Just can it?
You know,
going to come and back.
We look at Fulham and people say they've
come and bite us on the bum again.
They've had opportunities. We've had the best opportunities.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think
what is it with Sunderland just
not
putting chances
to challenge Roberts in the penalty area through fear of fouling him. Out wide on the left-hand side, Kazawa trying to clear here for Fulham. Is headed forwards again by Hume. Onto the chest of Kearney. Hooks it up down that left-hand side. Ballard's got this. He plays it down into the Sunderland dugout. Throw to Fulham on the far side. 1-0 Sunderland lead. Tony Mowbray's arms folded. He patrols his very small, narrow technical area on the far side at the foot of that new Riverside stand. And on that left-hand side, Kazawa forwards again. Vinicius leaves it for Kearney. Kearney now looking for Wilson in the penalty area on the right. Wilson onto his left if he can. Oh, what a save from Patterson.
Great save.
Patterson palms it away for a throw on the far side.
Yeah, fantastic save by Patterson, but you're going to say that it was at good height.
Yeah, it was.
But still, he had to make the save.
It was well done. A good shot from Wilson on his left. And Patterson's palmed it away, and then it's stabbed away again on the far side by Hume. And
see the problem they've got as well, Fulham. Sometimes they leave themselves open at times.
Now it's picked up by Hume, corner of his own penalty area. Ahmad has now picked it up on the touchline on the right, on the halfway, but Fulham win it back. And Luton won, Grimsby won in the cup. And brought forwards by Polino. Long ball up towards Solomon, but headed away by Hume. And now looking for Vinicius, and he's pulled it down for Solomon, who's come back towards halfway here. Left it for Kazawa to try and get forwards. He skips the challenge of Mishu. Low ball into the penalty area, but straight to Patterson. All in yellow away to our right-hand side.
I just think that Sunderland can catch him on the break. The counter-attack, because they are pushing men forward.
The second goal would be gold dust, wouldn't it? A reminder that Sunderland fan Philip Scott.
Sunderland's chances of how Sunderland's going to do this is just catching Fulham on the break. That's what we're going to have to do. We're going to be under the cosh.
Goal, and you'd be starting to.
We're going to be under the cosh a lot.
He's probably only put 50p on.
We've got to put the chances away. We cannot keep squandering these chances, not against decent opposition.
Mishu into the middle. Roberts, Ahmad in the penalty area. He's still going on his right foot, the right side of the 6-yard box. It's turned behind by the keeper. It's a corner.
I'll tell you what, them two together.
They are causing all sorts of problems.
You pay money to watch them.
Yeah.
The combination between them two.
Sunderland's second corner. It's from the right-hand side at the Putney end. Roberts is going to take this. All the big men up. Barr being pushed forwards. Clark on the goalkeeper. And in comes the ball. And it's headed up and behind by Ballard off a defender. It's another corner. And Roberts didn't have to go anywhere. Just gets the ball back now, ready to sweep another ball in for Sunderland, who lead 1-0 here at Craven Cottage. We're in the 52nd minute. So from the right-hand side again.
5 miles from Carlisle.
Corner. Hangs in the air a moment, headed out though by Tosin, and headed down that right-hand side by Dan Neal. Onto the feet, Roberts, low ball in. Straight at the keeper, and another corner. Couldn't keep hold of it.
I'll tell you what. Is Roberts
Preston's only an hour and a half away from
coming back to
Carlisle.
his old club, because I tell you what, he's on fire this afternoon, isn't he?
But then him and Ahmad have been on fire since they started playing together. Roberts again from that right-hand side. The ball hangs in the air, punched out by Rodak, and Solomon trying to get it clear for Andreas. And Andreas now being chased by Mishu, rolls it to the left-hand side to Wilson. Wilson, edge of the area,
1-1.
in the box, shoots, and Patterson saves it.
Great
Corner
save.
to Fulham. Oh, it's end-to-end.
Yeah.
Sheffield Wednesday 0, Fleetwood 1.
You know, we talked about catching them on the counter-attack.
Now
they've caught us on the counter-attack. Great save again by Patterson.
What a game this is turning out to be. Andreas is going to take this corner then from the left-hand side. In with his right, headed down and away, only as far as Kearney, and he plays it out to the left-hand side now here again to Solomon, who's trying to dribble into the penalty area. Comes across the back of the box now and leaves it for Wilson. Wilson back to Andreas on the left side of midfield. Curls the ball in and caught by Patterson. And worth mentioning, actually, I will in a moment, because here comes Barr now up to the halfway line, back behind him to
went this restaurant yesterday, and I says to the waiter, I says, "Oh, man, I says, is me pizza going to be long?" He says, "No, round."
Circle to Dan Ballard, up towards the right-hand side of midfield, where there's a foul on Hume. Worth mentioning that one player that's not on the Sunderland bench this afternoon is Bailey Wright.
Yeah.
And I wonder how significant that
is. He also says, "How do you like your steak?"
Well,
I says, "The same way I like sex." And they said, "Oh, very rare then."
The attendance today, 22,905, I think it is. Back in play.
Well done, Dan Neil. Go on.
22,905 as Sunderland come forward again here with Ahmad on the right of the penalty area. He's got Roberts behind him, and he's going to come back to the corner, and he's still on the ball, Ahmad. He tries a shot, down goes the keeper. Clark couldn't climb up. I don't know why he didn't just smash it with his right foot, but Clark didn't get a foot to it, and it was there, the goal at his mercy.
Clark's got to react, hasn't he?
Now what's happened on halfway here?
Been a foul on Ballard.
Yeah. Ballard being called to the referee with Vinicius and Michael Salisbury, all in black, having a word with the Brazilian and Ballard. It's still 1-0 to Sunderland. It should be 2. Clark will be kicking himself for not following up that.
Put it in.
Gary Bennett's talking like Clark should have scored that. Not really. It was a
replay.
I think the keeper had half his hand on it. It wasn't an easy chance at all.
And he got a hand to it just as Clark went to put his foot to it. So I think
absolutely.
Some credit goes to Rodak there
at the
for
same time as Clark
reacting as he did to try and
was not a massive
keep that
chance
ball out. 1-0 then still to Sunderland, and away they come again down that right-hand side as Kazawa gets in front and gets the ball back for Fulham. Polinia out again to Kazawa on the left touchline, halfway inside the Fulham half. Back to Tosin. We're in the 56th minute, and here's Diop across to Tosin again. It's been a cracking game. It really has been an entertaining cup tie. And now here is Diop again on this right-hand side, up over the halfway line, out wide. It's the Sunderland fans you can hear, away to our left. Amazing. As forward comes Huggins to Clark. Clark now, he's tackled by Polinia, gets it to Wilson, back to Diop. Polinia again on this right-hand side, fouled by Clark. And a free kick to Fulham just inside the Sunderland half, where they've got on with it. They haven't really taken it where it should have been taken from, but here's Diop on the right-hand side, down the line again to Tete, and the Dutch international now trying to get forwards down the right, out to Wilson on this right-hand side. Wilson onto his left foot at the back of the penalty area, slips it inside to Polinia. Polinia now in the middle, he rolls it behind him to Tosin, and it's given away, and now Roberts is away, Ahmad's inside of him, Roberts, and he's also got Clark on the left-hand side. Roberts still going, Roberts at the edge of the area, just past the foot of the post. Roberts, I don't know how wide that was.
How close was that?
But he took it all the way.
Does any of these Sunderland players know where the goal is?
He was expecting the goal to burst there. Again, he's got to hit the target.
Yeah. This is the exact point how shite we are when Stewart's not on.
He's got Ahmed, he's got Clark.
So 1-0 still. Tony Mowbray head in his hands.
We're missing some chances, mate.
And so should Roberts.
We're missing some chances. Like it's gonna bite us in the proverbial. It's gonna pay us back.
Given a good show of themselves.
Yeah.
And people, we're talking about could be, the Premier League's too early for us.
Well, it's played over the top for Wilson into the penalty area for Fulham. Pulls it back into the arms of Patterson. The arms of Anthony.
I think the pleasing thing for us is that it was on his right foot.
Out wide here to Huggins, inside to Barr. Rides the challenge from Polinia. Barr into the centre, Ahmad. Ahmad just plays it back to Barr in the centre circle. And Barr now, he's got Hume in support, but he turns inside and takes this on himself. Away he goes and finds Mishu. Mishu out to Clark on the left wing.
It's fast,
Clark
it's furious,
now,
I'll give it that.
Trying to get into the penalty. Little ball through to Mishu. Squares it, and it's played out away by Diop, only as far as Barr again on the left wing. Inside to Ahmad, back to Barr. Barr, little back heel, nearly caught Mishu out, but he's got onto it and the flag's up, offside. Free kick.
I'll tell you what, if you're a neutral, you'll enjoy it. You've got to be enjoying this game. End to end, entertaining.
Fabulous to watch. Fulham 0, Sunderland 1. And here, Tosin across to Diop. Forwards to Andreas on the halfway line. Back to Polinia. Swings it wide, looking for Solomon. Headed away by Hume. Throw to Fulham. Who says the magic of the cup is dead? Unbelievable game. Leeds still in it, of course. They beat Accrington Stanley earlier today, 3-1.
You keep going on about that lead.
It's still on at the moment. As Tete takes the ball over the goal line. A goal kick to Sunderland.
They're going to make changes.
Will Marco Silva
They're going to be making changes.
What point will he start to...
I think they'll be looking at it now, Nick.
Yeah.
Seriously. 30 minutes left.
But so will Tony Mowbray.
Yeah, but I think, from a Fulham point of view, they cannot afford to go 2-0 down.
No, they can't. They can't. I mean, that is the key at the moment is the next goal, isn't it? Because if Sunderland get a second, they can really start to hope, dream about winning this tie.
Fulham are winning 2-1.
It's fragile, there's no doubt about it.
1-1, it's 1-1, it's 1-1, Equalizer, it's 1-1.
Diop now, inside to Polinia. There's changes going to be made now. They're starting to ready substitutions.
Don't dive in,
as away comes Kazawa on the left-hand side, into the penalty area to Kearney. He kicks on his right foot, onto his left, still going, and he scores. Kearney equalises in the 61st minute.
It was on the cards.
And that's what I'm talking about on the far side. Unfortunately, Humes dived in. He's told himself.
I went to check the live scores on the app. The minute I went on it,
to get the ball,
flashed up goal for Fulham.
I tell you what, Kearney's done well. He kept his composure there.
He did.
Game on, 1-1.
So, Tom Kearney pulls Fulham level. Good shot with his left foot.
Yeah.
And it's Fulham 1, Sunderland 1.
Humes sold himself. Once you go to ground, you're out of the game.
Game over now, lads, I think.
And the substitution now is not going to be made by Fulham, by the looks of things on the far side. But just under half an hour to play. It's 1-1. I mean, Sunderland, look, they're still in it. The way they're playing, they very much still could get another.
We're trying to put the ball in the net, man. We've had ones, but the amount of chances we're having against the Premier League side.
With that adrenaline.
It'll punish you.
Is it a free kick on the far side?
Yeah.
Southampton 2, Blackpool 0. There's a foul on the far side
game
on the
over now. I can't see
Sunderland.
Kazawa.
And Kazawa, the French left back. He's a French international. He's on loan from Paris Saint-Germain, actually. He's got 13 caps.
Mitrovic is coming on.
And is Mitrovic coming on, is he?
Mitrovic, sorry.
So, 1-1 in the 63rd minute. The free kick from Sunderland, played forwards. Roberts couldn't quite get on it. And now Polinia forwards to the halfway line. Solomon.
Fulham's going to.
And in the end,
I reckon they'll win this 3-1 Fulham now.
And Fulham
I think they'll
have
take charge.
A free kick.
You've got to get your composure again. That's what they've got to do. Get your shape.
Vinicius is coming off. And Mitrovic is coming on.
No, Mitrovic is coming on. Mitrovic is coming on now. Let's just concentrate in the league now.
Well, that's something. I mean, that's, you know, the fact that Marco Silva's having to put him on tells a story.
No, I don't want to replay. I'd rather be out.
16 goals this season, 11 of them in the Premier League for Mitrovic.
Yeah,
and 5 international goals.
You know what they're going to expect. You know, he'll put himself about strong. You've got to keep an eye on him. You've also got to stop the delivery coming into the box.
Scored the winner here in the Championship the last time the two sides met in 2018. That was a 2-1 win. It was a late goal, 76 minutes, but it was Mitrovic who got it, and he's on the pitch now. But it's delicately balanced at the moment. 1-1. Though Sunderland sadly have lost Ross Stewart today.
I think we've played.
Here's Andreas on the right-hand side, and he plays it back through the centre circle to Tosin. And Sunderland have had their chances, and they could have been 2 or 3
well,
off.
That's what's going to be annoying to Tony Mowbray. We've had the opportunities and we didn't take them. And that's what we talk about being ruthless.
Yeah. Here's Huggins on the left. Wilson in front of him.
Huggins
being forced back. Wilson sticking with him, but he turns him. Huggins brings it out, plays it up through on the halfway line, straight to Tosin. Rolls it across to Kazawa, back to Tosin, and then forwards to Polinia. And Polinia to Andreas on the right side of midfield, looking to try and thread it through to Tete here on the right wing, and behind him Andreas again, and Andreas looks up, curls the ball into the penalty area, but it's headed away by Hume, and onto the head of Kazawa, drops a Cairney, nodded down by Ballard. Roberts tapping it to Hume, and Hume now up to the halfway line. Tosin heads it forwards again. Kazawa flicks it back inside with the back of his ankle, almost like an overhead kick. But it goes out eventually for a Sunderland throw. Quickly taken by Roberts inside to a battling Ahmad, but won back by Fulham here on the left wing. Kazawa inside eventually to Polinia, and across here now to Diop in his own half on the right of midfield. 66th minute, rolled back by Tete to Rodak. Southampton 2, Blackpool 1. Now, one thing that Marco Silva won't want is a replay.
That's right.
So that will be another reason he's thrown on.
Who are you speaking to,
Mitrovic,
Darren?
who's fouled by Ballard just in the Fulham half, right in front of Michael Salisbury, and a free kick to Fulham. Tosin will take this. I think Willian might be coming on as well. Is that Willian on the far side, just stripping off?
Yeah.
Talking about the big guns. I mean, Willian, he might be 34 years old now, but cool, what a player. As the ball comes up through to Patterson to collect. 67 minutes nearly played. Fulham 1, Sunderland 1. We're live on BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds. Back on Monday with Total Sport, of course. And on Tuesday night, full commentary, as this has to be dealt with Barr outside his penalty area across to Ballard. Full commentary of Newcastle's League Cup semi-final second leg from St James's Park with Razor and Ando. And here's Roberts on halfway on the right, short to Ahmad, back inside, eventually to Neil, and back to Ballard. Forwards again here now to Mishu, across to Huggins on this left-hand side, forwards to Barr, just kept it in, back to Huggins, and back again to Bart, out wide to Ballard. Mitrovic gives chase, but Ballard just holds it off and plays it down the line and out Fulham just turning the screw a bit here. I think Sunderland will start to tire. Willian is going to come on. But who for?
I think you come on for Solomon.
Keep getting players with glass legs.
Right. On that far side, battling away is Kazawa with Roberts. And Kazawa plays it back to his goalkeeper. Takes it down, clears it. Clark's in the box, but out it goes to Andreas. Taps it away from Mishu. And then out it goes again, wide on the right-hand side.
Wilson.
So, yeah, it's Wilson who's going off. Luton 2, Grimsby 1. So Willian and Mitrovic both on now for Fulham, who are trying to avoid a replay. Now Luton 2, Grimsby 2. So one here. Throw to Sunderland on the left. It's going to be taken by Huggins down to Barr on the halfway line. He thinks he's fouled. The referee's giving nothing, and the flag comes up for a throw to Sunderland on this left-hand side.
Come on, mum.
Huggins just inside his half to Clark, hooks it away into the centre circle. Hume trying to get his head on it, drops, bounces over Mishu, drops for Neil, who taps it to Clark, who tried to get it through for Ahmad. But out to Willian on the right now to Andreas, and he scuffs his shot, but still nearly crept in at the foot of the post. But Patterson's down to make the save and bowls it out quickly now to Ahmad on that far side. Back behind him, Hume. Hume under pressure.
A lot of people on social media saying that's why you can't give a toss about these cup games, because
and now
you get injuries
Hume,
and that
quickly
totally
back up on his feet.
Up.
But it's with Fulham again, and now here's Tosin, and he plays it back onto the halfway line to Diop. Diop inside to Tosin again, and Tosin short.
If we win the final, I'll play hairy bagpipes near
Kearney looking for Solomon on that left wing. Solomon now at the corners. Players fly into the box, and he tries a shot himself, which sails into the Hammersmith end.
Yeah, I think Tony Mulvey needs to freshen things up. Maybe bring on Bennett just to give us another outlet. You know, they have put a shift in.
Yeah, there's a couple of players getting up to change now. I think some changes are going to be made. We're in the 71st minute now. Fulham 1, Sunderland 1.
Would you be happy with the replay?
And the kick from Patterson down the right, headed on by Mishu. Will come back though. Flag is up. Offside. Headed on by Hume. Sorry. Flag up. Offside. Hugh Grant just shown on the screen in front of us, watching the game with his son. Nice to see Hugh Grant wearing tweed. Good man. And here's Diop on the right-hand side. Forwards to Andreas. And now to Polinia. He swings a ball out wide left, looking for Solomon. Brings it down in front of Hume. And the Israeli international on loan from Shakhtar Donetsk plays it into Polinia. And now to Tete. And Tete out wide to Willian. That great bush of black hair on Willian's head still. And away he tries to go down the right, but Barr wins it back now, and now tries to get the ball out up to Clark, but Diop gets in front of him easily to Tete, and now Polinia and Andreas at the edge of the D. It's knocked away again, and it's Sheffield Wednesday 1, Fleetwood 1. And here is Diop out to Willian. And up towards the edge of the area. Mitrovic trying to get it through. He's stabbed away from him. Some thoughts about Clark. He's on the break here. Diop's got in front of him. Diop backing away. Clark goes down in the D, but the referee gives nothing. Clark just picks himself up. And some thought that the Ross Stewart injury, as Willian goes down the other end, and now trying to get on the end of it, Mitrovic, but it bounced off him awkwardly. He's gone behind for a goal kick. It might be Stewart's metatarsal that's the problem. They were working on his foot, weren't they, in the area around his ankle. So
where did Fulham sign Djokovic from?
Although the way he pulled up, it looked like hamstring, but then they were sort of kneading his foot. It could be a metatarsal, but anyway, either way, I think we're looking at, weeks out.
I just think they need another outlet, Sunderland.
They do now, yeah.
Clark there, you're just thinking if you had a little bit more energy, you could have broke clear. Bit of fatigue.
Getting some treatment
they have worked hard.
Well, 73rd minute, I mean, fatigue, I think it is creeping in without question. I think what Hume's got is cramp, actually. Pete Brown just pushing the foot back, stretching the leg, stretching it down. Hume, I think that is a sign of cramp, isn't it? 1-1 here at Craven Cottage in the 4th round of the FA Cup, live on BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds. Hume's back up on his feet and strolling off to the touchline on the far side. At the moment we're looking at a replay, but what can happen? There's players that you've got on the pitch now, anything can happen. Patterson about to take another goal kick. Tony Mowbray can be very proud of the way his teams perform, whatever. Here's the kick from Patterson on the right. It's headed forwards by Polinia. Andreas picks it up on the halfway line, trying to shake off Michu. Through the middle now, Kearney, and he comes out towards the right looking for Willian, and Willian got the overlap from Tete but plays it back inside to Kearney, and now to Willian on the right again. Back behind him, Tete into Kearney, and Kearney, the Scottish international, trying to twist away from Michu, out to Willian, and Willian, short pass inside to Polinia. Now he looked to leap. I think that was a dive, but he's won a free kick right on the edge of the penalty area, and Bart has been booked.
Oh, that was a dive. Nick Barton says free kick to Fulham.
I mean, I suspect. It probably was a foul. I'm looking at it again here on the. It was a shove, wasn't it? But he overreacted, I think.
Yeah.
But it's a free kick to Fulham, 18 yards out, right hand side. They'll have to be on their mettle. Is it too close for an attempt at goal? Probably not. Williams placing the ball, getting a few words in his ear from Tom Kearney. Kearney
will fancy this on
I
his
think
left
both
foot.
of them at the moment. I think the way that Williams looking at him, though, I think Williams the one who's going to take the free kick. 76th minute, Fulham 1, Sunderland 1. 4 in the Sunderland wall, and one lone defender to the right of it. I think it's Hume.
Bennett's going to come on, isn't he?
Is it Bennett? Yeah, but I think 2 of them are going to come on. Is it Equa's coming on with him as well? Debut for Equa back in London.
Come on.
So, Willian, it's just 19 yards out here. Willian, the Brazilian, or Kearney, the Scotsman. And it's going to be Willian with his right. Oh, and a great save down to his left by Patterson. Did well, can't have been easily sighted, but he's made the save from Willian. It's still 1-1, and the ball cleared for a throw.
And I think Jack Clark, I think he'll come off Jack Clark himself.
1-1 still. Double change. Michu's coming off. And I think it's that Equa.
He's our new player coming on.
Sure.
He's
Michu.
our new player.
Yeah. And Jack Clark.
Yeah.
And Clark coming off.
Watch him get injured. The Sunderland way.
And it's Equa and Bennett.
This is the Sunderland way, man. He'll stand down clenching his hamstring, man. You watch. Jack Ross.
And now Polinia's going off for
Jack Clark.
Fulham.
Is that Harrison Reed?
And it's Kearney who's going off.
Harrison Reed's coming on.
So Reed's coming on. So Kearney and Polinia are both going off, I think. Yeah, Reed on.
Are the Russian ones, Ant? Are the Russian ones?
And who's coming on now for
Bobby?
The other Reed.
Will you guys be happy with a point today then?
Reed. So we're getting pretty much to the full strength Fulham team now. So wholesale changes made by the two managers, two head coaches. It's still 1-1. We're in the 78th minute. And it's clear that Marco Silva doesn't want a replay.
I don't think Tony Mowbray wants a replay.
Probably doesn't, does he? He probably doesn't. But now, here then is Diop. Forwards to Andreas. Back to Diop. Barr is out wide on this left-hand side. Just inside of him is Equa. Now is here Harrison Reed playing it out. Eventually to the left-hand side, Kazawa looking for the run of Willian, who's gone on the left wing now. It spins off him, and the flag's up for offside. So, just over 10 minutes left. All square. Down by the river.
Side. Down by the riverside. Down by the riverside. It was all square.
Will
at
it stay that way?
Cottage.
There's a hit in the making there. I now know where your daughter gets the talent. Here's Huggins on the left-hand side. Back it goes to Danny Bart, and with rhythm forwards to Bennett, back to Equa, into Huggins on the left wing. Huggins on the touchline, just crept out, and a throw to Fulham.
There you go, bringing it up again. There's no need, Jacob.
Reed, who's Jamaican, down on this right wing, so Williams on the left wing. And here's Tosin at the back for Fulham, just behind the centre circle, through to Harrison Reed. And he swings it over to Willian. Cut out, though, by Hume inside. And now Neil looking for Hume's run down that right wing. He's had to check, but now looking for the run of Roberts.
You didn't like the
Roberts
pizza, Joe.
Has got Kazawa to come past, and he's going to flick it inside, down the right side of the penalty area. An attempted cross made by Hume, and it leads to a corner, I think. Throw. Leads to a throw. And Hume will take it. Back it comes here now to Ahmad. Into Roberts. He leaves it for Ahmad. Ahmad down the right of the penalty area. Pulls it back here. Roberts.
Oh.
It's blocked. An attempt by Equa is blocked. And in from Neil over the top. Dan Neil's attempt from the D floats over, head in his hands. He knows there were a couple of opportunities there. Well. 2 half chances. And it's still 1-1. We're in the 81st minute. Here's Tosin walking this out, playing it across now on the right hand side to Diop. Diop back to the goalkeeper Rodak, who plays it to Tosin again, and Tosin across here to Diop again, and then to Tete, back inside to Diop, and then Diop up over halfway. It's swung away from Andreas now for a throw to Sunderland, which Huggins will take. Back to Danny Bart. He's caught up in his feet, but he gets it back to Patterson. Kicks it clear of Decordova-Reid. Up into the centre circle to Harrison Reed. And now here's Andreas. Bennett trying to get it off him. Now Ahmad chases Tosin. It comes back inside. The Frenchman Diop takes it over the halfway line, out to Tete, the Dutchman on the right wing. Back into Harrison Reed in the centre. And the diminutive midfielder played it across to the left, where Kazawa played it back into the middle, and now Tosin forwards to Decordova-Reid, back to Harrison Reed, and on the right here Diop inside the Sunderland half. Tete inside to Harrison Reed, back to Diop, closed down by Bennett, into Harrison Reed, back to Diop. Barr stabbed it away, but it goes to Andreas in the middle, and now picked up by Solomon trying to find Mitrovic. It sweeps past him and out for a goal kick. 83rd minute.
What was that bet? 2-1? 16 to 1?
16 to 1.
looking good.
Still on. Still on. Goal kick then for Sunderland. Patterson. As everybody heads over towards the far side. And away it goes,
well done indeed,
over the halfway line. Headed away by Tosin to Decordova-Reid, who plays it back from the centre circle to his keeper, who lifts it up over the advancing Bennett. And it drops straight into the path of Dan Neil. He's done well, but he's tackled eventually. Tosin gets the ball away. Andreas is bringing this forwards. Sweeps it out on the left wing, looking for Willian, and it's put out, and it's a throw to Sunderland. I'm told we're keeping that copy of you singing in case a record company wants to sign you up.
Hartlepool's just equalised.
Vision, that's called Vision. Throw then to Sunderland. Hume will take it on the far side in the 84th minute. Away from Bennett. Throw again to Sunderland. Hume again with a throw. And it's foul by
just yet.
Harrison Reid.
Samuel?
On that far side, on Ahmad, I think it is. And a free kick to Sunderland. Wilston 1, Gateshead 2. Here on the left, Barr into Bennett. Bennett on this left-hand side in his own half. Just taps it back now to Huggins. Huggins under pressure from Decordova-Reid. Gets it through here to Barr. Just a little bit too much of it thrown to Harrison Reid. Now with Andreas. Andreas cuts across the centre of the Sunderland half and then plays it down the right wing to Tete. We're in the 85th minute now. The ball into the box and it's played low, and Patterson saves from Solomon.
Tell you what, he's being alert today, Patterson.
Solid save from Solomon.
Great hands, being bright.
1-1 still. Will anything give in this next 5 minutes? Kick from Patterson. Hartlepool 1, Colchester 1. Tosin heads it away. Straight though to Dan Neil, and out on the right it's one back by Fulham. Kurzawa to Willian. Now Harrison Reid. He rolls it to Diop. Diop plays it back to the goalkeeper, who passes it out to Tosin. Immediately closed down. That sliding in was Roberts, couldn't get his foot to it. Here now is Tosin on the touchline and trying to get forwards. It's one back though by Bennett, inside to Equa, out on the right, goes out, throw to Fulham. 86th minute, Fulham 1, Sunderland 1. Rigg is coming on for Sunderland. Chris Rigg, I'm telling you what a story that would be if he scored. So who is going off? Chris Rigg is coming on in the 86th.
I'm going to have a Kentucky
minute.
Fried Chicken for tea tonight.
Is it Roberts?
Yes.
It's Roberts who's gone off, isn't it?
He's a question for you. Then where was the first Kentucky Fried Chicken opened in the United Kingdom?
In the 86th minute. And it's 1-1. I mean, what?
I'm asking you.
An afternoon of 5 minutes or so for Rigg. Fulham 1, Sunderland 1. It's not 16 till July. Here's Solomon again, rolling it into Tete in the penalty area. His cross, headed goalwards, caught from Mitrovic by Patterson.
As if it's going to be Preston a coincidence, do you know what I mean?
1-1. So we're on tenterhooks here. We're in the 87th minute. Patterson with the
but
kick,
I bet you didn't know that, though.
Drives this up over into the Fulham half, headed on by Hume. Drops for Ahmad on that far side, back to Hume, looking for the run of Bennett. Toyson, who's huge in comparison to Bennett, heads the ball away. Hume on the touchline, gets it back to Ballard, up to halfway, he's trying to get it clear. They look for a free kick, Sunderland, but they don't get it. And Rigg, what a ball down the left for Barr to chase. Will it be too much? It's going to bounce away from him, and he puts it behind for a goal. I was just
going to get one chicken fillet, and then I realised only one chicken had been murdered for me to have that meal. So what I had to make the chicken feel at home, I ordered a family bucket instead.
Manor Solomon, the Israeli, is not comfortable, and Sunderland are on it again here now with Dan Neil out to Ahmad on the right side on the touchline. and down towards the corner flag. 1-1 still in the 88th minute, and back it comes down the line, and it's played back. Well, Bennett trying to get it back, and Willian's won it. Willian now for Fulham at the last, trying to win this game and avoid the replay. Ballard trying to get it forwards now to Dan Neil, slips it through to, well, nearly to Rigg. Andreas intercepts and plays it back now to Diop, forwards to Solomon, and Bennett nearly got it, and then Tete gets it in front of Rigg, and it's played to Toyson up to the halfway line. The Sunderland fans are trying to suck it back up the other end. A tackle by Rigg. Every tackle by Rigg is applauded and cheered, and now they win it back again. And here goes Barr down the left-hand side, advantage for the foul on Bennett. Barr into the penalty area, taps it to Equa, and Equa's shot takes a deflection. It's a corner on the left for Sunderland.
Birmingham have equalised against Blackburn.
Come on. Excellent work by Sunderland.
That bank of Sunderland fans will suck it in. Down to take the corner is Ahmad. We're in the 89th minute. Ahmad here on the left. Only
good delivery
Hume up in midfield. Ahmad's ball in. It's headed goalwards by Bart, but caught by the goalkeeper. And Rodak now, as we enter the dying embers of the 90, out to Toyson. Toyson, edge of his area, wide left to Kazawa. Forwards again here on the left-hand side. Played inside to Andreas. Mitrovic is furious. He wanted it played back to him. Willian now down the left wing. We're into the last minute of the 90. Willian plays it back here to Harrison Reed at the edge of the centre circle to Diop, and out here on the right to Tete. It's 1-1 at Craven Cottage. Tete across to Toyson. Blackburn 2, Birmingham 2. Out wide again to Kazawa. Forwards on that left wing to Andreas. Cuts back in, plays it back onto the halfway line to Toyson. Toyson now to Diop. A chase for Bennett. Diop strides away, opens up his legs because he's got that much height, and played into the penalty area. Tapped away. Andreas trying to put it back down to Willian on the left-hand side in the box. Played it back here, and a deflection over, and it's a corner now to Fulham. Hartlepool 1, Colchester 2. Andreas goes down to take this corner. We're in nearly to added time. There'll be 4 minutes. 4 minutes to go, just under now. Andreas.
This is where you miss. Like I said, this is where you miss
Stewart to clear. On the left then.
Get in! 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 Get in!
Went to punch it, Patterson.
Woo! And watch your screen. Watch your screen. Watch your screen.
Wide on the left-hand side, but it's cut out.
Watch your screen and enjoy the KFC fact from Preston. Watch your screen, Anne.
Down the right wing.
Watch your screen.
Now.
Watch your screen.
Ahmad, Bar's
go on.
For it, and he's the onside.
Go on, you sexy bastards. Get in.
Oh yeah!
Get in.
Oh, flags up.
Oh, it's offside. No, it's not offside. It's offside. It's offside.
Flag up on the far side.
It's offside.
What a
15 and a half.
That would have been. What a story that would have been.
Offside.
Go to VAR.
It will have to go to VAR. The flag was up, and it's still 1-1. Still 1-1. He was offside with an initial pass. Actually, it's definitely offside.
Get carried away there,
you know. Clearly.
Oh well.
But who knows? Now Harrison Reed way down the left. Willian for Fulham down the left of the penalty area. What drama's left in this game yet? Willian still going, a block, and it's going to be cleared. Is it? It's come out, back out on the left.
And don't watch your screen.
In here looking for Mitrovic, heads it back out towards Tete. Equa gets a foot to it.
Yeah, he was a mile offside there.
Barr out to the left touchline, just keeps it in. Falls down into the advertising hall. He disappeared. He's hurt. He has literally disappeared. And now a block by Ballard for Hume to clear, and out wide for a throw. And Barr reappears and walks back on the pitch. Was it a minute and 3/4 left. Harrison Reed.
And don't watch your screen.
Fulham 1, Sunderland 1. Back here to Tosin.
Going to choke on me fucking chicken legs now.
Circle to Andreas. Andreas down the left-hand side. Wide on the left here now. Trying to get the cross in.
He was about 6 metres offside, wasn't he?
And it's hooked away in the air by Huggins. It bounces down and Equa just puts his foot through it over the halfway line, where Tosin is going to play it back to the goalkeeper. We've got a minute and 10 seconds left. Bennett closes him down. The keeper clears. Tete with his head heads it inside. Equa wins it back. Out to Solomon though for Fulham on the right. Back to Diop. Diop curls one up to the edge of the area, looking for Mitrovic on his chest, trying to tee up a shot. Mitrovic still going, tries a shot. Oh, it's headed by Ballard at Patterson, and Patterson blocks it, and then Willian follows up, and it's tipped over by Patterson. You couldn't make it up.
Unbelievable. I think Patterson's got to touch it out.
Yes, he did.
Good play by Mitrovic there.
This is incredible. It's a corner to Fulham on the left with 15 seconds left. Andreas then with this corner on the left-hand side into the near post. It bounces down and it's Barr who's got to get this clear. Barr comes out and gets it away down the left. It's going to go out for a replay.
I tell you what.
There goes the full-time whistle.
What a game.
Finished here 1-1, but what a cup tie. What
Excellent.
A cup tie.
You know,
that was incredible.
Both teams should be applauded off. They've given all great entertainment, end-to-end
stuff. It was disappointing, like that last bit at the end. I thought we nicked it there.
Display by Sunderland as well.
I think unbelievable game. Out on their feet, these players. It'll be a replay at the Stadium of Light the week after next, but I mean the fairy tale would have been Chris Rigg scoring them, but Barr was a long way offside.
I feel sorry for Chris Rigg there, mind.
Walking hurriedly off, applauding the Sunderland fans on that.
I feel sorry for Chris
big
Rigg.
bank behind
that's the replay.
goal
Cheers
to
for
our
watching,
left.
guys. Thank you.